Hello, everybody. It is a very cold, snowy autumn day today, but something that is exciting is that one of my David Austin standard roses has arrived. So, this is the only one that I've ordered directly from David Austin this year. And let's get it open. So, previously, I have had some issues with the trees being delivered. And I don't know if it's because some of them were sent with kind of flimsy stems and weak graft points and they'd snapped off and that kind of thing. And some had issues with gall. So I was really, really kind of nervous about ordering again this year. But here we go. So this is the Road Doll. I do generally tend to go for the most fragrant David Austin roses, but I was looking for something to break up the pink, and in terms of standards, that doesn't leave a lot in terms of brighter yellow kind of colours. So I do have Desdemona coming from Two in Centrum Lottum, but yeah, this I thought I'd give this one a try. It should be very, very floriferous according to everybody else, so I am looking forward to that, and it's fairly shade tolerant. Um, if others' experience is anything to go by, so I can put it in a kind of more shadier place in my garden. Um, yeah, so the grafts are looking good, and there's grafts on both sides of the stem, which is a definite plus because we don't want kind of wonky leaning Tower of Pisa trees, do we? Um, and the stem is fairly straight, so I've had more bent than that, and I've managed to straighten out, so that's fine. So as I said, I'd had issues with gall, which caused no end of problems for me. So I have been neurotic about checking for any evidence of gall now. But this is looking fine. I mean, it does concern me sometimes when large bits of root have been cut off rather than trimmed. What was the issue there? I don't know. But yeah, so far this is looking pretty good. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on camera. Let me get into light. So the only thing is, where is it? I've just lost it now. It looks like eggs of some kind, maybe. Oh, in here, that's it. There. So these look like, I think this is what slug and snail eggs look like, but I'll have to have a bit of a Google and see what that is. As long as it's not gall. And then I'm not going to be too neurotic about that. But yeah, overall looking pretty good. I had been planting in the springtime and summertime with the fish blood and bone in the planting holes, but the foxes love it and they were digging up everything I was doing. So then I switched to the bone meal, which they don't seem to be as fond of. So that's been a bit more helpful. And to be honest, the bone meal is probably better for the autumn time and the winter time anyway, because it won't kind of stimulate the green, it will stimulate the roots. So then to treat the three spaces that had trees with crown gall in them, I had to use boiling water. There's some techniques where people put glass over the soil in the summertime and then the sun kind of bakes it because the crown gall bacteria dies at around 60 degrees. But I don't have the luxury of that because we're in autumn. So I had to resort to putting buckets of boiling water down kind of in that area. And then I could cover up that space with cardboard and kind of glass panes that I had from the shed that I destroyed. But yeah, I don't obviously know if I've managed to eliminate all of the crown gall bacteria that had contaminated the soil. And doing that with the boiling water will have got rid of a lot of the goodness from the soil in terms of the bacteria and the fungi and stuff like that. So I have added some root grow. So this is the mycorrhizal fungi back in to the places that the boiling water had been. And I had also did a little bit of Googling and found this, which is another fungal treatment, which is supposed to compete with the bacteria that causes crown gall. So even if there's some left over, I'm hoping that putting some of this powder down around the union of the trees will be enough to kind of outcompete any leftover bacteria. And even if it doesn't, it's supposed to have a kind of healthy defensive mechanism for the plants anyway. So I got this from Amazon. I believe that the kind of large scale nurseries use something called no gall, but we can't get a hold of that because we're not licensed to have that. So yeah, this is the kind of consumer purchased alternative. But then also, in addition to that, I use this, which is from Envy. They do a load of fertilizers and stuff to kind of put the richness back into your soil and the goodness back in. So this is bacteria and mycorrhizal fungi. So I've kind of gone really all in. So because I've kind of wiped out any good bacteria that was there, I've really tried my best to put in what I can just to give them the best head start. And then obviously I will use kind of stuff like manure and stuff like that just to try to put any kind of goodness back in that has been stripped. So yeah. And the only other thing that I've been up to is these little cuttings. Because it was snowing today, I've had to just move them into the garage because I was concerned about them being too weak to cope with the frost that we're going to have later. But yeah, so I'm going to decide where to put this. I don't know whether to put this next to Mum in a Million and Harlow Car, or whether to put the Desdemona that's coming in that spot. I'm not sure. But I'm going to put this in a bucket of water to rehydrate the roots, and then I will either put it in its position or I will heal it in. So yeah, happy gardening everybody.